If you saw my past video on Nick Bare's hybrid athlete program, you know, based on a desire to be able to run for days at a time while looking like a cast member from a Marvel movie, I've now gone through months of following his program. No, but really, after a long running season, I wanted to get my lifts going again while toning back my running, and this program seemed like it would really fit the bill. If you haven't seen that video, then take a minute to get caught up by clicking the link here or there, or I don't know, it should be somewhere, so I'll figure out how to make it pop up. A couple of important notes here. I cheated, kinda. Due to some travel plans, I did not complete all 12 weeks and instead wrapped things up by week 10. I didn't just stop 2 weeks early though. I looked ahead on the final weeks and chose the most important workouts to complete to get to the end of the program. Another thing, I limped across the finish line, kind of literally. Things got a little rough at the end. I'll go over that in some more detail in a bit. Final thing, I changed things up a little bit. I'll elaborate a bit more on this, but I started to change some of the workouts and experiment a little bit by the end. Was it the exact workout prescribed? No. Was it better than what was prescribed? Let's find out. I'm Dave. This is Dave Does Fitness. Before we get going on the program review, I want to take a minute to thank those of you who have subbed to this channel. It's pretty obvious I'm just starting out, and for you to support a small content creator like myself means so much, so thank you all for your subs so far. If you're new to the channel, please consider subscribing. I'm really working to make this channel better and better on each and every upload, and I really appreciate your support. One last thing on the channel before we get going. Can we please get the comment section going? We've got a few videos out. We've got some views now. It's really awesome. The comment section is still a ghost town here. You have the opportunity to not only be the first comment on this video, but the second ever comment on the entire channel. So shout out to Marcel, who left my first ever comment on my video about Garmin and Audible. So I promise a shout out to whoever is the first commenter on this video once we hit 100 subs, and then again when we get over to 1,000. So thank you all. I really appreciate the support. Okay, let's jump into Hybrid Athlete and how it went after finishing the program. So just to recap where we left off, I've been going through about 6 weeks of the program when I did my first half recap. I scored a few aspects of the program, such as the running programming, the lifting programming, utilizing the app, and the overall template and structure of the program. So I scored the running program a 4 out of 5. The lifting program I put out a 2 out of 5. The app I scored at a 3 out of 5. And finally, the overall structure and template for workout days and just the concept of the program as a whole, I put at a 4 out of 5. So did anything at the end of this program change my opinion or my scores? Let's find out. Now, unfortunately, right after the first video was filmed and wrapped and edited, injuries started creeping in. I got an impingement in my left hip, which didn't affect my running too much, but it did bother me when doing knee raises and some of the other exercises for the core workouts. I also got some tendonitis in my right elbow from all the gripping and pulling from chin-ups and pull-ups and deadlifts. To be fair, this may have been related to a previous injury that I got, which kind of prevents me from really closing my left hand well, so I think I was overcompensating with my right hand, but I don't know. Be that as it may, right elbow tendonitis. Now, the injury that really got me limping around is some inflammation around the insertion of my left hamstring, the top insertion, so up in the hip area, around the glutes. And this happened pretty much the day after the first long run, that 12-mile run. So more on that soon. You know, I tried my best to tackle the program as written and figured I could just start to put in more warm-ups, more recovery work, more stretching to address the high volume. But yeah, the high volume got me. I talked about it in the first video, and I definitely was not immune to it by the end. So let's talk lifting. There was some additional variety thrown in towards the end with some exercise variations, different exercise ordering, and basically the same kind of rep and set variations previously used with some small bumps in volume. That's right, the volume that we complained was kind of high in the first half got even slightly higher in the second half, so it's a lot of volume. At the end of the program, there isn't any kind of strength test or anything like that. Like the program just, it goes and you're doing the same kind of workouts and then that's it. So to give the lifting portion of the workout a final score, I feel that the scoring pretty much stays the same, right? A 2 out of 5. On the positive side of things, in the second half, there's, as I mentioned, some additional variety of exercises. It kind of kept the workouts fresh. On the negative side of things, as I've mentioned many times, the high volume caused some overuse injuries, and the only form of progression built in is you increasing your weights using an RPE scale. So if you don't know an RPE scale, it means rating of perceived exertion, basically how hard you think the exercise is. So if the prescribed weight is RPE of 8, it means the set should be judged by you to be an 8 out of 10 in difficulty. Now, as you can imagine, that could be extremely subjective. The idea is that as you get stronger doing the program, your perception of an 8 difficulty would then be a higher weight, so you could use increased loads. Now, there's no other form of progression built in with sets, reps, rest periods, and all the normal variables that you'd manipulate in a training program. And to me, this seems like a missed opportunity for a program that stretches out over almost a quarter of a year. 12 weeks is a lot of time to not have any real program progression. So yeah, 2 out of 5 for lifting. The real buildup of the program are the final runs. So in the 10th week, there is a 12-mile run. In the 12th and final week, there's a 15-mile run. As I mentioned earlier, I changed up the timing a bit and did the 12-mile run at the end of week 9 and the 15-mile run at the end of week 10. Now, funny enough, the term build up is the exact wrong phrase to use here. There's no actual ramping of mileage to tackle these 2 long runs. That's why I feel the final runs are too big of a jump from the other running workouts in the program. The closest thing to preparing for the long runs is dialing back the midweek run to a 30-minute easy-paced run a couple days before the longer ones. So check out how I did on the first long run here. Okay, we just wrapped up the long run. So this is the one that's supposed to be a 12-miler. You'll see I just hit a little bit over 12.4. That was just because the way the loop worked out, and I figured if I could end at 20K, why not? My only problem with this run right now is that there is just no build up to it in the program at all, right? So the longest thing you're doing is 1 hour runs, and for me those are typically around between 6 and 7 miles, right? But that's the longest I've done in a few months. And if you're more of a beginner, 60-minute run is going to be between 5 and 6 miles probably. So going from something that's heart rate based and probably getting you about 5 or 6 miles to something that is a set distance and possibly even doubling your mileage is a huge leap. I mean, for someone just getting into running, getting up into double digits and multiple hours of running, it's a pretty big deal. Plenty of time for progression to build up to a run like this. But it's just a lot of kind of the same kind of base building, right? Going from 45-minute base building to 60 and hitting some 45-minute speed workouts. None of that builds up to what would equal a 12-mile run. So as I mentioned, the day after this run, I had some tenderness at the top hamstring insertion on my left side. It hurt to walk, but I mean, the pain wasn't too high. I knew it was inflammation, it was aggravated. I wasn't like injured. It could have been the hills that I wasn't too used to running, or maybe the ramp up in distance from going from about 6-7 miles up to 12, but Either way, I knew a few days of a leave and kind of dialing things back would get me back on track, and largely it has. So the real culmination of the Hybrid Athlete Level 1 program is the 15-mile run. Now this can be a real big deal for someone who's never tackled this type of distance before. You're stretching out over multiple hours of running, you're really pushing yourself. You get into the realm of needing hydration, of needing nutrition. It's not just like going out for a run. Now, I knew I wasn't injured in a way that would prevent me from finishing that type of run, and for the most part, things felt great once I would get moving. Now again, I'd been pushing longer distances for quite a while before starting to take a small break and then starting this program. First, I was training for a marathon towards the end of last year, and the race was this past December. Then I went into a training block for an ultra marathon, which was this past June. So I was excited to stretch the distance again and kind of get back to some of those longer runs. And well, here's how that final run went. All right, we're about to hit that 15-mile run. It is dark as hell, so this footage is going to be pretty crappy. You might be wondering why I'm hitting it so damn early. Well, today was the best day to run for me, and I got to be back in time for my boy's first soccer clinic. He just turned 2. It's his first one ever, and I didn't want to miss it. Let's get some miles logged. All right, we're a third of the way through, just past 5 miles. It's finally light enough that I feel like leaving the camera on is no waste. Doing pretty good. Glad I can see the sidewalk now and go a little bit faster without worrying about tripping. So 10 more to go. Let's get it. Just hit 10 miles now, so 2/3 of the way done. Just past an hour and a half, holding steady with the pace, around 9-minute miles, so nothing too tough. We got 5 miles left, so that's about 45 minutes. So overall feeling fine, legs are good. Water intake's fine. Had a couple salt caps in the gel. Looks like we're on time for soccer. Let's get it. All right, we just closed in on our last mile. We picked up the pace. We're bumped up at about an 8:20 now. So close out strong. Always feels good to have a negative split, but it was really just trying to get it done too, I think. So have at it, final mile. All right, we are officially wrapped. 15 miles in the books. Nice sunny day now. So we finished up at 2:14:30. Our pace was actually just under 9-minute miles, so pretty nice and casual, hanging around 9. So there we go. Long run, Hybrid Athlete number 1 in the books. Did the program train me for it? I don't know. Maybe mentally going to 12 last week was good. You know, if I was able to do the full 12 weeks, I would have done the 12-mile run 2 weeks before this. Kind of got some more under your belt, and then, you know, you feel maybe a little more mentally prepared. But it was good. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed stretching my legs out. Now it's time to shower, change, and go watch some soccer. And yes, I made it to soccer, and it was a great time. So definitely a future star in the making. Come on, kicking.
Great work.
Almost there. Get it in. Yeah. And you'll notice I didn't mention my hamstring pain at all during the run. It really does fade off once I get moving, and while the tenderness settled in a bit again now, currently, I know it's going to get better as long as I keep things light, take a little bit of a leave, not a big deal. So to look back and score the entire running program, I would say my score would drop from what I had previously given a 4 out of 5 down to a 3 out of 5. The running workouts did a great job of building a base, but again, there isn't much of any progression built in here. All your base building runs are MAF runs, which means maximum aerobic function. It's a simple calculation of 180 minus your age. So if you're improving your fitness, maybe your MAF pace goes from like a 10-minute mile to a 9:50 mile. But aside from possibly gaining a little bit of pace while staying within that prescribed heart rate zone, the entire program takes place at paces determined from entering your fastest mile before you even start the program. So the big reason for the drop in score is the jump from hour-long runs all the way up to 12 and 15-mile long runs. It's supposed to be the final test of the program, but in reality, it's just too high for the majority of people. I won't dive too deep into the workout template and structure since it was consistent throughout the entire program. So each week you perform 2 base runs, 1 faster run, 3 lifting days, and that all takes place during the week. So you have both weekends off. You do a 2-a-day on Wednesday, so that's your shorter speed run, and then a pull workout. And that's basically the template every single week. So I'll keep that at a 4 out of 5, and you could see a little more of my reasoning if you'd like in the last video I made about the first half of the workout. Similarly, I won't harp on about the shortcomings of the app. I talked about that in my first video, but for a quick recap, the app can occasionally crash when entering weights. You cannot easily reference any past weights you've entered without quite a few taps, and multiple speed workouts have incorrect programming, and you can't edit the workouts to correct them. So I'll keep that at a 3 out of 5, just in consideration that it's a free app with a bunch of content. So let's summarize my overall thoughts on my time as a hybrid athlete. As I said in the first video, the concept of hybrid training, basically being able to have the endurance to run a considerable distance, but also the physique and strength of an action hero, occupies a really nice space in the overall fitness spectrum. So if we consider the fitness abilities on a spectrum, let's say from powerlifter to Ironman, someone like a competitive bodybuilder will still do cardio to get lean on one side of the spectrum. On the other side, many professional endurance athletes have incorporated strength training to elevate their performance. So a hybrid athlete falls basically in the middle of that spectrum, and it's a great place for the majority of the population to strive to be at. It reminds me a lot of a quote I heard years ago from a high-level CrossFit competitor. I honestly forget who. They said something along the lines of, I could enter a marathon, I can enter a powerlifting competition. I probably won't win either, but I'll do damn well in each of them. And honestly, for most people trying to get in shape, building up strength, building up endurance in meaningful ways is right where you should be. That's where I scored the structure and template of the hybrid athlete program for a 4 out of 5. I think the overall concept is great. The implementation and delivery of the concept is what is flawed for lots of reasons I've already gone over. The high volume for lifting, the lack of meaningful progression mechanics in programming for both lifting and running, and a big jump in running distance at the end, as well as delivery through an app that lacks, let's be honest, a lot of basic functionality. Now I'm making this video for anyone interested specifically in trying the free hybrid athlete level 1 workout in the BPN app. This isn't an overall criticism of Nick's version of what he has now termed hybrid training or any of his other training programs. I know that he has a paid membership app where he posts other workouts, and maybe those workouts are amazing. They have a lot more thorough programming and progressions built in, and this is just kind of the freebie one. I don't know. I'm not sure. This is just a review on this one app that I had access to. But either way, please don't take this as bashing Nick or any of his concepts. He's a highly motivational guy, and he uses his platform to inspire so many people to push themselves and improve their fitness and health. If I can ever get to a fraction of his audience size and help as many people as he does, the result would be a dream come true. So I think Nick is great. His hybrid athlete concept is great too. But if you're looking for an introduction to being a hybrid athlete, I would suggest to keep looking past this program. Now we're just about done, and I feel like if you've watched this all, you're probably interested in the hybrid athlete program, and I've given my opinion on it, but I've also not really given a good alternative, and I know that kind of sucks. I want to leave you with something of value that you can take away from this video, not just that this program might not be a good fit. So while I could easily make an entire new video on how I would approach hybrid training, and maybe I will, let me know if you're interested in that in the comments section. For the sake of this video and putting out something of value you could take from it, let's talk about some back of the napkin adjustments I would make to this program to improve on the weak points and make it overall a better program with as few changes as possible. For the lifting program, the quick changes we can make to improve on this part of the program would be to take out an exercise on each of the upper pushing and upper pulling days. The repetitive volume is just too high. You don't need it. You can choose most any exercise aside from the main compound lifts such as bench press or pull-ups. You're either doing barbell or dumbbell bench and you do pull-ups in all the workouts. You could yank out any of the other exercises. And instead we're going to substitute in 3 sets of 15 reps of reverse flies on both of those days. You could do those with bands, cables, or dumbbells. Rear delts are an important muscle to hit to keep shoulders healthy, and they're worth isolating in most programs. Additionally, for core workouts, I would substitute every other workout with a plank hold for 3 sets of 30 to 60 seconds, as well as standing cable rotations for 3 sets of 10 to 12 repetitions each side. All the core movements are in the sagittal plane, meaning forward and back. There's no rotations, there's no isometric holds. Putting those both in will make the program just that much better. Finally, I think the leg workouts are pretty good. If anything, I would change the warm-up lunges to be lateral lunges to again hit a different movement plane. And in the same way, every other week, I would make the walking lunges into side lunges. For the running program, the quick changes I'd make here are very simple. Just build the base runs. Those runs are 45 minutes, weeks 1 to 4, and then 60 minutes, 5 to 12. Instead, bump to 60 for weeks 5 and 6, 75 minutes for 7 and 8, and go up to 90 minutes for week 9. Now, since the 12 and 15 mile runs take place on weeks 10 and 12, those can remain unchanged. The lower volume on the other days is just fine. It's still rather large jumps in running volume, but there's at least some sort of ramp up to give you a taste of longer mileage before throwing you into deep end on the last couple weeks. So what do you think? Have you tried this program and had similar results? Are you now an action hero that runs 100-mile races? Should I put my money where my mouth is and try to build a better program? Let me know in the comments section. If you've made it to the end of the video, thank you so much for taking your time to visit my channel and stick around. As I mentioned earlier, I'm a small creator with a very new channel. If you would subscribe, throw a like, leave a comment, it would mean so much to me, and I can't wait to connect with you. I've got so much more in store for this channel. I'm Dave, and this is Dave Does Fitness. Have an awesome day and stay fit.